Hey, what is going on YouTube? My name is James and welcome back to another video. So before we get into this video, I just want to quickly say that I'm going to be recording these videos one after another because my time schedule and everything I've just completely messed up, so I need to get everything done all in one. So please don't judge me if you see the same outfit and the same setup over the next few videos. I promise I'll switch things up in a few videos. Now today we're going to be taking a look at and reviewing the Grand Seiko Highbeat GMT. The reference is SBGJ003. Absolutely beautiful watch, but before we get into that, a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing the Oris Arctic GT. Love this watch and I will stand by it. I think it's the best watch in my collection and probably will be for a very, very long time. Absolutely love it. I want to say a big thank you to Andy for letting me review this watch, but also he's letting me sell it on his behalf. So if you are interested in buying this watch, please do email me. My email is always in the description, or it's kibble.talkswatches@gmail.com. But yeah, whilst I discuss the basic specs of this watch and just go over the basic things, I will demonstrate all the stuff that comes with the watch and just roll a couple of clips like that. So let's just get straight into it. Now this watch retails at £5,500, and that's not long after the recent 10% increase, if I'm not mistaken. The case size comes in at 14mm, the thickness is 14mm, lug to lug span of 46mm, and it has a lug size of 19mm. So again, a very awkward lug size, but it's definitely one you can still find straps for and still have a good mess around with. Now the movement it uses is Seiko's in-house 9S86, which is a 37 jewel movement, which is obviously the GMT movement. The crystal it uses is an inner coated sapphire crystal with an exterior case back as well, also made of sapphire. And it has a really great water resistance of 100 meters. As with all my reviews, I'll be covering the pros of the watch, the cons of the watch, and then finish off with my overall conclusion. Now, as with all my reviews, this is my personal opinion. So if you do have a differing opinion, please do let me know down in the comments. I love to get a conversation going back and forth and hearing what you guys have to say about the watch. So let's just jump straight into the pros. So the first thing that really stood out to me the first time I picked up this watch was the dial. It's absolutely beautiful. And once you start sort of examining the watch and really looking closely, you'll notice it as well. It's got this beautiful texture to it. It's like, I don't know how you'd explain it. Obviously you've got the snowflake, which has that sort of snowy texture, and it's very similar in a sense, but it's more like sharp. It's got more like a sharp texture to it. It's absolutely beautiful. The next thing you'll notice is that high beat movement. The sweep of that hand is something else. 36,600 beats per hour, which is just very, very, very fast compared to usual 21,800, or in some cases 18,800 if I'm not mistaken. So it beats very high and it's a very, very smooth tick. It's also got a 55-hour power reserve, which is just incredible. And it's also rated at +3, -3. And obviously it's a GMT function with a date. And also it comes with this very, very cool certificate, which actually certifies your movement. And it also gives you the ratings specific to the watch, which I think is just absolutely awesome that Grand Seiko provides something like that. I think in this kind of price range, I don't know any other brands that really do this, like proper give you a certificate authorizing your movement, your specific one. And also let's not forget the decoration on the movement. It is beautiful. Grand Seiko are on another level with their decoration and overall finishing. And I will say that straight away, that's one thing you notice as soon as you pick up the watch. Another great thing about this watch is the crown. It's a very large crown in comparison to the case, and I think it just works really, really well. Not only with the design but also functionality. Being able to operate the crown is very important on a GMT, and I think they've just nailed it perfectly. The grip on the crown is perfect. Obviously it's signed Grand Seiko as well, so it looks the part, and overall it's a very, very nice crown to use. Another great thing, and I wish more brands would do this, lug holes. Again, I speak about it in my Nomos video. I think lug holes are just a very underrated thing, and I think more brands need to do it. Obviously on the older Rolex cases you get lug holes. I just wish more brands did it because it just makes changing straps, one, so much easier, and two, a lot more fun. It's like having quick release on the straps itself. I just don't get why more brands aren't doing this. It just makes a lot of sense. Of course it affects the aesthetics of the watch and obviously reduces that overall clean aesthetic because you have a hole in each side of the lug. But I just think it works, and I think if something works that well, I think a lot of people are willing to sacrifice the aesthetic appeal. Because to me it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Another really great thing about this watch is the bracelet. It's incredibly comfortable and very, very well finished. Overall the case finish on the watch is also brilliant, but the bracelet really stands out with its mixture of textures and polishing and brushing. Is just really, really nice. And the way they bevel the edges as well is just on another level. It has a very generic fold over clasp, which I'll get onto in a bit, but it works. It's reliable and it feels good. Solid end links as well, and overall the bracelet matches the watch perfectly and it's incredibly comfortable. Another really cool aesthetic appeal to me is the GMT hand. Obviously the GMT has great functionality, and it being a GMT means you can track two time zones independently, which is obviously very, very useful for travelers. The aesthetic appeal of it is the striking red that it is. I think it just looks great, and obviously with the Rolex and the GMT Master you also have a very similar thing. Apart from this is very, very different to that, so I'm not going to compare the two. But that being said, the beautiful red, it just works. It really, really works, and it definitely stands out. Another pro, which I also think is a con, which I'll get onto in a bit, is the Grand Seiko name. I think having a Grand Seiko is really, really cool, and it shows you're willing to put your money down on something that isn't as well known as it probably should be. It's like buying a Tudor in the 90s. I think that's where Grand Seiko's at. And I think I've made that comparison before about Grand Seiko and Tudor, and how I think Grand Seiko's going to go the same direction as Tudor. And obviously with Grand Seiko announcing at Basel that they're no longer going to put Seiko on the dial and they're a complete separate entity to Seiko, I think that's definitely going to help things and help their brand image, because I'll get onto why in the cons in a bit. But I think it's cool to have Grand Seiko on the dial, and I think it just shows you, like I said, you're willing to put your money down elsewhere other than Rolex, other than, you know, Omega and brands like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, you know, I'd happily put my money down on them as well, but it speaks a lot to the collector and to their appreciation for the Japanese and the Japanese art and everything like that. I think it says a lot. I love that this watch is 100 meters war resistant. I think it just makes it makes that bridge between a very usable watch and an everyday watch that can do anything. So you have usable and then you have everyday watch that can do anything. This ticks that box by being 100 meters and having a screw down crown, in my opinion. My Aurus ticks the same box, and I love this watch, and I don't think I'd ever take it off if I didn't have other watches. I'd happily wear this every single day and probably be a one watch guy. I said it, I don't think I could, but I probably could try. But this being 100 meters as well just makes it very reliable, robust, and you can just sort of count on it. You don't worry too much. And as of right now, if I'm still not mistaken, it has the longest power reserve of any Highbeat watch, being at 55 hours, which is just brilliant that you can get such a smooth tick and have a huge power reserve of 55 hours, which is more than enough. It means you can put your watch down on a Friday when you get home from work and pick it up on Monday morning, and it should still be going. Now obviously this being rated +5 -3, it actually just beats Swiss chronometer ratings, which is really, really cool. Now one really cool thing about Grand Seiko, which I don't think a lot of people know, or a lot of people are now just finding out, is that they're actually hand assembled and hand polished and adjusted by a certified watchmaker and tested for 17 days in their facility. Now for a watch that's been completely hand assembled, hand polished and hand adjusted is incredible. And to get it at this price range is even more incredible. And I think that's a huge pro for the company, the brand, and the watch itself. You know, to know that this has been hand assembled. And if I'm not mistaken, there's some sort of markings on the movement, which you can then use to track which watchmaker actually put your watch together. I might be wrong, but I think that's the case. And the way they do their polishing is actually a technique used way back in the day, and it's the Zaratsu blade polishing technique. Now I won't go into more detail about that in this video, so feel free to go do some research on that, but I think that's really, really cool that they use an old Japanese blade polishing technique to polish the watches, and it just creates for such perfect beveling around the watch, around the case and the bracelet, and it makes the finishing top notch. So now that's the pros out of the way, let's get on to the cons, of which there are few. I think one of the cons is, like I was saying, it's the name, and I think the name, as much as it's a pro, can also be a big con. To most people, or to a lot of people I know, the fact that they're putting down this much money and getting Seiko on the dial is a big, big deal to them. Because they want people, I don't know whether it's they want people to know, or they want the reassurance that when it comes to selling, people know. If you have Rolex on the dial, people know. Whether you're into watches or not, people know you've spent a serious amount of money, and they're also willing to put a serious amount of money down, even if they don't know much about watches. Whereas Seiko, on the other hand, most people will see this and will just see the word Seiko. And I can talk from experience from wearing this watch, most people don't know anything about Grand Seiko. They see this watch, they see the word Seiko, and they assume you're wearing a £300 watch at most, which is a con to some people and a pro to other people. It really depends on where you stand and why you buy watches. For me personally, I think it's kind of more a pro, but I can understand why it'd be a con to a lot of people, that's why I mentioned it. And also, I think the fact that it is Seiko, and although they're separate now, I still really don't think, even with everything they're doing, that they can justify the price. And hear me out, I think this would have suited a lot more and a lot better being priced at 3,500 to 4,000, which is really sad, because if they had the word Seiko or Patek or just another name on the dial, they could probably charge double, if not triple, if not quadruple their retail right now, based on what they're providing, which is like hand assembly, hand polishing, hand rated. Everything that they're doing is of top notch beyond their price point. It's just their name and their brand image is not where it needs to be, in my opinion. And I was speaking with a friend not that long ago about this, and I was saying I think Seiko have done the right thing by separating Seiko and Grand Seiko, and I think it's a move in the right direction. I just think they're going about it wrong. I think they're being too optimistic with Grand Seiko, and I love what they're doing, and I think it's incredible. But with their recent release of an $8,500 dive watch, if I'm not mistaken, you know, it's just crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. And I think if Grand Seiko re-envisioned and redirected where they are, and maybe aimed more towards Oris to Tudor level, and stop the hand assembly stuff and just focus on creating the best watch they can within that price range, I think Grand Seiko would kill it. I really do. I think Grand Seiko would kill it, but right now I think they're struggling, and I think they're going to continue to struggle. That's just my forte, and that's just what I think of Grand Seiko as a company, and that's just where I stand. And my last con of this watch, there's not many, but my last con of this watch is the clasp. I think the clasp leaves a lot to be desired. It being a basic fold-over double deploying clasp, and it price ranges at, and also the quality that it holds, it would just be nice to have a better clasp. Like the clasp on my Oris is far superior, and this watch costs a fraction of the price. So, you know, I just think the clasp leaves a lot to be desired. Now on to my overall conclusion after saying all that. I think this is a beautiful dressy GMT watch. I think it's the most beautiful dressy GMT watch on the market right now, and I'll happily and safely say that, especially with the color variations you can get. I would happily own this watch, just not at the price it's retailed at. I think they're really missing the mark in what they could achieve. And that's me personally, this is my opinion, and obviously you guys are entitled to yours. Please do sound off what your opinions are down in the comments, because I'd love to hear your guys' take on Grand Seiko as a brand. I think if you're into horology and you're into Japanese and you're into Seiko, I think these are brilliant, even at that price. I think you get so much watch for the price, and if you're buying without intent to resell at some point, I think go for it. Like, absolutely go for it. But if you're buying this with intent to potentially flip, or if you're a person who flips a lot, I'd say probably don't buy Grand Seiko yet. I don't think their brand is held to a high enough standard in the general community yet to hold its value enough to make it justifiable. I think you're going to be taking a big hit if you buy retail and then try and sell on later. I think there's going to be a big hit. That's just me personally. And yeah, I kind of want to leave it there because I want to hear what you guys have to say, and I think I've said enough based on the brand and what I think. But overall, as a watch, regardless of brand, I think it's an incredible watch. I think the finishing is just second to none. And I've handled quite a lot of Rolexes. I've even handled the AP Royal Oak, and I've handled some absolutely next level watches, and this is just as good. I can happily say that, and I can safely say that. I can say the quality, finish and feel is up there. There's a few things that let it down, and the big one being the brand, in my opinion. That's my opinion, but I'm going to leave it there. That's my conclusion. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please do leave a like. It helps out a lot. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Take care. Peace out. Oh, and one last thing. I'm going to be doing a comparison between this and the Snowflake. Don't forget to check that out.